A woman lies dying in a hospital bed while her husband's family celebrates in the hallway outside. They think it's finally over. They think they've won. But then the doctor walks out and whispers two words that change everything. It's twins. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who were supposed to love you, this story will hit you hard. Stay with me until the end because what happens next will leave you speechless. And if you love stories about justice and second chances, hit that subscribe button right now. You won't want to miss what's coming. The hospital lights buzz overhead. In a small room, a young woman struggles to breathe through an oxygen mask. Machines beep steadily beside her bed, tracking a heartbeat that's getting weaker by the minute. But she can hear them. Through the door in the hallway, voices that should be worried, but aren't. I never understood what he saw in her anyway. A sharp voice cuts through the air. It's her mother-in-law. The woman's eyes stay closed, but tears roll down the sides of her face. She's known the truth for months now. Her husband has been seeing someone else, a woman from his office. The affair has been going on for almost a year. She stayed quiet. She hoped that when the baby came, he would choose his family. She hoped he would remember the vows he made. But now, as her body fights through the hardest labor the doctors have seen in months, she understands where his heart really lies. Once she's gone, we can finally move forward, the mother-in-law continues, not even bothering to lower her voice. That other woman is so much better for our family. She's educated. She comes from the right background. She's actually one of us. Through her half-open door, the woman can see them gathered like vultures waiting for their meal. Her mother-in-law stands with her arms crossed, a pearl necklace shining under the harsh lights. Her father-in-law keeps checking his watch like he has somewhere better to be. And there, standing way too close to her husband, is the other woman. She's wearing a bright red dress that looks wrong in this place of sickness and death. Her hand rests possessively on his arm. The husband says nothing. He just stares at the floor, jaw clenched tight. He doesn't defend his dying wife, not once. Another wave of pain hits, and the woman bites back a scream. The doctors have already explained the complications. Internal bleeding that won't stop. They've already delivered the baby through emergency surgery, but her body is giving up. She's heard the whispers between nurses who thought she couldn't hear. Critical condition. Prepare for the worst. The head doctor steps out of the room, her face serious. The group in the hallway immediately straightens up, arranging their faces to look concerned for anyone passing by. How much longer? The mother-in-law asks, dropping all pretense. No sadness, just impatience. The doctor's eyes narrow. In 20 years of delivering Bobbies, she's seen a lot. But the cold calculation on these people's faces makes her blood run cold. She's fighting very hard, the doctor says carefully. She's lost a lot of blood, but we're doing everything we can. Of course, the father-in-law says, waving his hand dismissively. We understand. These things happen, nature taking its course and all that. The other woman steps forward, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. And the baby? Is the baby healthy? That's what she would want us to focus on, the future. The way she says, the future, while looking at the husband makes the doctor's stomach turn. The baby is stable, the doctor replies coldly, revealing nothing more. Inside the room, a nurse holds the dying woman's hand, tears streaming down her own face. Stay with us, the nurse whispers. Your baby needs you, don't let them win. But the woman's grip is getting weaker. She can feel herself slipping away, her vision going dark. The last thing she hears before losing consciousness is her mother-in-law's voice. How much longer do we have to wait? If this story is making you angry, leave a comment below. And smash that like button if you think karma is real, because it's about to hit hard. 2 hours pass. The celebration in the hallway has become less hidden. The mother-in-law has gone to the cafeteria and brought back coffee for everyone. A nurse asks if she wants to send anything in for the dying woman. No point wasting money on someone who's already gone, the mother-in-law says with a wave of her hand. The husband stays mostly quiet, but during her brief moments of consciousness, the woman has watched through the door as the other woman whispers in his ear, painting pictures of their future together. New beginnings, fresh starts. She sees him nod, sees his shoulders relax, sees him glance at his watch. He's counting down the minutes until he's free. The doctor emerges again. This time her face is impossible to read. The group immediately goes quiet, arranging themselves to look like a grieving family for anyone walking by. "I need to speak with the husband," the doctor says firmly. "Alone." He steps forward. For just a moment, something that might be guilt flashes across his face, but the other woman squeezes his arm encouragingly and it vanishes. They move to a small private room. Through the window, the family waits. The mother-in-law is already pulling out her phone, probably to start making funeral arrangements. "Your wife has been through a traumatic delivery," the doctor begins. "I understand," he says quickly. "These things happen. No one's to blame. We'll handle everything." "I'm not finished," the doctor interrupts sharply. "The delivery was complicated because we discovered something during the surgery, something your wife apparently knew but chose not to share. Perhaps because she suspected how you would all react." He frowns, confused. "What do you mean?" The doctor opens the door and gestures for him to follow. They walk down the hallway, past the waiting area where his family immediately stands up. "Where are we going?" the mother-in-law demands. "He needs to see something," the doctor replies without stopping. They arrive at the nursery window. 2 incubators sit side by side. Each contains a tiny baby wrapped in hospital blankets. One wears a pink cap, the other wears blue. The husband stares, not understanding. "Congratulations," the doctor says, her voice taking on an edge of satisfaction. "You're the father of twins, a boy and a girl. They're both healthy, breathing on their own, and doing remarkably well considering what they've been through." The color drains from his face. Behind them, footsteps approach, then silence as the others see the 2 bobbies. "What, how?" the mother-in-law stammers. "Hit that subscribe button right now, because you need to see how this family reacts to this bombshell." "Your wife was carrying twins," the doctor continues, turning to face them all. "The second baby was hidden behind the first during most of the ultrasounds. It happens sometimes. Your wife apparently discovered this a few months ago and chose not to tell any of you." The nurse who's been caring for the woman steps forward, her voice shaking with anger. "She told me she knew how you all felt about her. She heard you say at Thanksgiving that one baby was bad enough, that she was trying to trap him with a pregnancy. She decided that if you couldn't be happy about one child, she certainly wouldn't give you the chance to complain about 2. The group stands frozen as the truth sinks in. 2 bobbies means double the legal obligation, double the child support, double the inheritance rights, double the connection to a woman they've spent months wishing would just disappear. The other woman's face has gone pale. Her hand drops from his arm. 2, she whispers. "And as for your wife," the doctor continues, making it clear she heard every word they said in that hallway. "She's been stabilized. The bleeding is under control. She's weak. She'll need a long recovery, but she's going to survive." The barely concealed joy on their faces evaporates completely, replaced by shock and something that looks a lot like panic. "She's alive," the mother-in-law breathes. "Very much so," the doctor confirms. "In fact, she's been conscious for the past 20 minutes, and while she's very weak, she's been able to hear everything you said in the hallway. Everything." The husband's face turns bright red. The father-in-law suddenly becomes very interested in his shoes. The other woman takes a step backward, as if distance might somehow erase her presence. We should go see her," the husband stammers. "Actually," the doctor says coolly, "she's made it very clear she doesn't want to see any of you right now. However, she asked me to deliver a message. She pulls out a folded piece of paper with shaky handwriting. She wants you to know that she heard every single word spoken in that hallway. She knows exactly how each of you felt about her dying. She knows about the affair, though she says she's known for months. And she wants you to understand that while she stayed silent before for the sake of trying to preserve a family, what she heard today has made her decisions very clear. The doctor looks directly at the husband. She's instructed me to tell you that you'll be hearing from her lawyer about divorce and custody. She's also asked me to tell your mother that she will never, under any circumstances, be allowed unsupervised access to her grandchildren. The mother-in-law gasps, "She can't do that, I have rights." "Actually," the nurse says, pulling out her phone, "given that multiple hospital staff heard you celebrating what you thought was her death, talking about how much better off you'd all be without her, I think any court would take her concerns very seriously. I recorded some of what was said, for documentation purposes." The legal implications hit them like a punch to the gut. The mother-in-law sways, gripping her husband's arm. The other woman has already started backing away, clearly realizing her fantasy of stepping into this life has just been destroyed. The husband reaches for her, but she shakes her head. "I didn't sign up for this," the other woman says quietly. "This is too much, I can't." She turns and runs down the hallway, her red dress disappearing around the corner. The husband stands alone, watching her go, the weight of his choices finally crushing down on him. "When can I see my wife?" he asks quietly. "That," the doctor says firmly, "is entirely up to her, and given what I witnessed today, I wouldn't hold your breath. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a patient to check on. A patient who just survived something that would have killed most people, not because of any help from her family, but in spite of them." She turns and walks back toward the room, leaving the group standing in stunned silence before the nursery window, staring at the two tiny lives that have just changed everything. Inside her room, the woman lies with tears streaming down her face, not from pain, but from relief and a strange, fierce joy. The nurse holds her hand gently. "You did it," the nurse whispers. "You survived, and your bobbies are perfect." She nods weakly, her eyes closing. Tomorrow will bring lawyers and difficult conversations, and the hard work of building a new life. But tonight she has survived, and her children, her two beautiful children, are safe. In the nursery, a nurse adjusts the blanket around the baby girl, who opens her eyes briefly before settling back to sleep. Beside her, her brother yawns, his tiny fist curling against his cheek. They have no idea about the drama that unfolded around their birth, no concept of the betrayal and cruelty that filled the hallways while their mother fought for life. All they know is warmth, safety, and the steady rhythm of machines monitoring their perfect, healthy heartbeats. And that, the woman thinks as healing sleep begins to take her, is exactly how it should be. Whatever comes next, whatever battles lie ahead, her children will be protected from the people who stood in that hallway and celebrated what they thought was their mother's death. The twins had saved her in more ways than one, and she would spend the rest of her life making sure they never regretted it. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love us show their true colors at the worst possible moment. But sometimes, just when all hope seems lost, life gives us exactly what we need to survive. If this story moved you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done in her situation. And subscribe because I bring you powerful true stories like this every single week. Remember, karma doesn't forget, and neither should we.